Thank you so much for tuning into the Woman to Woman podcast, a conversation for women like you, smart, successful, curious, and interested in being your best self. Join both Sarah and I as we discuss topics that women our age are actually interested in, with both of us being candid and often having differing views.
As coaches, we sprinkle in advice and tips, along with humor and vulnerability. We hope you feel like a fly on the wall with two friends. Let's entertain and inform you and welcome you into our friendship.
We appreciate you pressing play and spending some time with us, wherever you are in the world.
Let the magic happen. In today's episode, I am going completely naked. I did not say literally naked, I say completely naked emotionally. Angela asked me the question, what was my greatest lesson in 2021? And 2021 has been a very, very challenging year, emotionally speaking. And I had to untangle, my patterns, some habits, some things that I was doing, my behavior, that I was not even conscious about. But this is what I've learned in 2021. And I am telling you all the story in that episode. I'm also sharing how I did transform those patterns. So let's just take your cup of tea and enjoy these episodes with us. Will be released probably first week of January, something like that. I don't know. Surprise. So we were talking about that. And I thought that would be good to share. We thought, by the way, that it would be good to share about what was our greatest learning for 2021. And I wanted to share something and see, if that resonates into people's life and what they have. Because when I look around, and I ask this question to everyone around me, 2021 was even harder than 2020, and 2020 was already challenging because this is where all the COVIDs came out, and we needed to learn a new lifestyle. But then 2021 somehow was even harder. I could explain a little bit using astrology. I mean, if we look at that, astrology was definitely here to support us in that year of challenges and obstacles that we need to overcome and learn how to deal with it. But still, we all have our unique life. You all have a certain way of dealing with, events. And so my greatest learning about 2021, it really did not started well. Not at all. Seriously, I mean, you were there, you were with me. It did not started well. And I had this big event that I had to overcome. So I lost all my money. Literally, I lost it all with a scam. A pink scam on internet with especially all those cryptocurrency. And that really felt real. I had a contract. There were a company settled, in US. There where everything seems real. The CEO as well felt real. Everything felt extremely real. The relationship that I was having with the agent was also real, and it lasts like months. So that's the very lesson that happened. I lost it all. I finally found out that I was scammed. So,
Sarah, can you tell us what to watch out for though? Because even though I know how it was for you, I don't like. So I think a lot of us are interested in cryptocurrency. I myself have even started trading that, but on a platform, right? So I have So myself in Australia, I think it's called Independent Reserve. And I am buying cryptocurrency on there, but only the big ones, which is Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I know nothing about this, so this is not financial advice. But that's the only way I know to do it, right? To buy on a platform, kind of the way you would stocks. And then, so I've bought crypto recently, which at the end of 2021, it's a little bit lower. It's still like 60K for one Bitcoin. And then I don't really know what my plan is, but hopefully sell it when it's higher. Okay. That's not intelligent at all. That's pretty simple. But what happened to you? Was it a platform that you went on, or was it someone saying, I can make you a millionaire? Well, like, what was it? I didn't really understand in order for what the lesson is. Yeah.
It's more like that. It's definitely more like that, where, I knew how to convert a Bitcoin. It's quite easy, actually. It's very easy, but I didn't know how to store it, or where to stock it, where, I just didn't know that. And when this person happened in my life, he was telling me all the things, and seriously, it felt like it was real. It really felt like it was real. And because he was talking about, trading, and he was using those, those words which looks really professional. And that felt really, and I was talking with him for months even before I start investing. So which means that we really created trust. So which means that those scammers are even more sophisticated. They are building trust. They don't jump on you and, after a week of conversation, they ask you to invest. I was talking with this person for 2 months before I dropped my first dollar on Bitcoin to him. So, it was really like, so I really felt that, we had installed the trust in the relationship, and he was talking about that, but not only, he was also talking about his private life. He was sharing photo videos with me, with his girlfriend. He was young. Probably most of the life was not a lie. I don't know, to be honest, but it felt so real. And then finally something starting, didn't sound right, and I started asking questions, and I say, okay, now I need my money back. And he say like, no, you can't. You have to buy 3 Bitcoin, and once only it's done, then after only 12 months, then you can withdraw it. And I was just like, this sounds weird. And so I started asking questions to lawyers around, and they were telling me, it's not right, it's not correct, because a Bitcoin, you can withdraw it anytime. So you can have the hands-on your investment. You don't need a specific platform. Even the one that converts your dollar into any cryptocurrency is already good enough, because your money is just there. That's it. It's yours. So you don't even need to store it in a special app. There is not a company that it's going to convert more than another. The only thing is maybe based on a commission. That's just it. That's all. Anyway, so this is my biggest lesson, is that the ego can be extremely good at make you convinced that you need more money. And of course I have that desire, like everyone, to be richer, and so I think the greed definitely got me. My ego used that, and I got scammed, so I lost it all. So this definitely is my biggest lesson. I'm lucky, because even though 2021 was emotionally very hard for me, it was I was towards the end I managed to get back my relationship, and I kept my job. I mean, it was not even threatened to keep or not my job, but definitely it was. Luckily I have my job, so thanks to my job I managed to get back, not where I was, far away from where I was, but it helps me make peace with that, the fact that money comes back. Money is energy. It taught me a lot about money this year, seriously. So the only thing is that I may have fallen into another pattern. So my old patterns about money was holding on to it, not doing anything with it, not even investing, just holding on to it, just in case something is happening in your life. You never know, you never know. And that's my mom's pattern, like just hold on to it, just don't spend it. And that was my pattern. When I lost it all, surprisingly, my pattern completely changed to the extreme. Is that let's just get rid of it before it's gone. Let's just get rid of it. Let's spend it, here and there before it's gone. And this is the new pattern that I need to work on, because it's not right. I need to find, the midway between those two patterns. So it's surprisingly how the mind is working. It's things that I did not intentionally say, I need to spend my money before it's gone. It's just that everything that I was earning was gone because I was spending it, investing it in myself. So, the coaching industry will tell you, yeah, but you invested in yourself, which means that this money is going to come back to you, multiply by 7 or 10 or whatever figures that they give you. That's true. But still, it's not like these last 6 months, I did not save any penny. I spent it all. I pay for my own expenses, monthly expenses and quarterly expenses, but I'm not keeping any penny. So 2022, it's going to be another challenge. So this was definitely my biggest lesson. The second big lesson is that with all that emotional pain that I felt this year, seriously, it was seriously painful. I found myself connecting myself into that feminine energy, dwelling into that feminine energy, being overdoing, and for many reasons, I'm a doer, for many reasons, manifestor generator, you can say it as a human design, but also as a Virgo, but also as a human being, and also by the conditioning of the society. We need to do and keep doing if we want to be rich, if we want to be happier, if we want to have a perfect life, if you want to have this type of life and this type of feeling and this type, we need to do and do and do. I pause. July, I completely pause. I said, you know what? I stopped that. I completely stopped that. And I learned, what was feminine energy, and I enjoyed it so much. That was a gift after all I felt in the past, and that was really seriously a moment of peace. It was really a moment of peace, and from that, I was able to create. And in September, new things starting to come into my life, and those things were positive. I had my bad days like everyone, okay, but now I feel like, okay, now I'm much more present. I'm much more taking of myself, taking care of myself. It's seriously like, I know how to love myself. I know how to care for myself. I know how to put myself first to better give to others. And so this is my journey towards 2021. I mean, that was it. Tell me about you.
Oh, wow. I got totally lost in that. I do have a question, though, that other people might have, which is sort of, in practical terms, how did you tap into your femininity or feminine side, or whatever it was you said, and more into being rather than doing? How did you do that?
So the very first things that happened is that, okay, I took a course for that. So where someone was teaching about feminine energy, and the course was about, embodying the archetype of the goddess, because archetype are another tools that we can use in coaching to help us understand ourselves better. It was only about the archetype of the goddess, but it's all about the understanding between doing and being. And we are human being, we are not human doing. And being has a very deep meaning. And once you understand, what being means, it's definitely, understanding the energetics around those words and what it is. So it's all about self-care, self-love. So this is more things that you can be for yourself, because you don't do self-love to yourself. You feel it. You embody what self-love is for you, because it's self-love, right? So it's this is the energetic that goes around this feminine energy. And compared to the masculine energy, which is the doing, and having always this creativity ongoing, these things that you need to do. Oh, but I should do this, I should do that, I should do that. And that's the wrong way of using the masculine energy, because the I should gives you so much stress in your body without even noticing, but I should sell this, I should do that, I should make this way. All this should is definitely a killer, and it's a wrong way of using the masculine energy. It's not that you need to step into your feminine energy by just posing. Seriously, just pose. And you can do this in the middle of your day, just posing. It's really like, just take a time for yourself and be with yourself. I won't even tell you meditate, because you don't even need to meditate. Meditation is good. It has lots of benefits, but you don't even need that to be. Okay, it's good for starting point eventually, but it's not only just, just pose. You may, I'm not sure if you felt this way, when sometimes you're just sitting and then you don't even look at something specifically, but you are in a different world. You have that big vision, not looking at specifically an item, an object, right? And then you're just gone. Your mind is gone. But you still have your open eyes, and you just like in those moments where, you just look, and maybe things may happen in your mind, but you're not really connected to what happened in your mind. Does that even happen to you sometimes?
I didn't 100% understand what you meant. You meant you're looking and you feel like you're connected to a universal energy? Is that what you mean?
No, not even that far. You don't even need to be connected to the divine. You are at that moment, but you don't know it. You may not know it. You may not notice it. It's just like, we used to say that the traffic light, the red traffic light is a huge hypnosis tool, actually, and it's terrible to put a red light as a traffic light, because it's extremely, you can get into hypnosis just by looking at it. And then sometimes when you look at it, then you feel that you're not looking at it specifically. It's just like you're somewhere, but you're not even conscious that you are somewhere. No, you don't. Am I looking weird trying to explain that? Okay, so I thought that would happen.
You're not connecting with me. You're not connecting with me, but maybe other people.
Okay, so probably. Okay, so it's just that I had those moments where I'm completely, I'm just relaxing here, and I'm going to pose. I'm going to make it's not intentional. It does not happen intentionally. It's what I'm trying to say. It does not happen intentionally. It's just that you're here, and then suddenly you fix at something, and that object just disappears suddenly, because you have that vision about what is happening around you. You're not even focusing on anything, and it's just there, and you have that moment of rest. You have that moment of peace.
Oh yeah. Maybe I'm like that most of the time.
Yes, it's like, when you tell people, thank you. It's like when you tell people, oh, you're in the moon. I mean, literally, I just translated from French version, because when people are like this, and especially kids, we tend to say that they are up in space.
They're right? Like off with the stars, I think, or off with the fairies, we call it.
Okay, so this is it.
Okay, yeah.
And those moments, can be extremely powerful. You don't have to look for it, but this is what, for me, stepping into your feminine energy, it's not only it, but this is where it starts. When finally you decide to take a pause, a break, just a real pause, not just the pause of going and smoking your cigarettes or just going and grab your tea. It's not that, because
No,
you
well,
don't
that's
do
numbing.
anything.
That's numbing. I think taking a pause and numbing yourself are two very different things.
Because one is with doing, where the other one is just being. And that's the main difference, And so, and when you start connecting to those moments, and then suddenly you wake up and you did not even, you were in a moment where there's no time, because sometimes you may have been like this, like for 2 minutes, which may not seems long, but sometimes you look at your phone and you're like, oh, 15 minutes, okay, where I was, and you don't recall exactly what happened in this moment, And so when you're in this moment, it can be so powerful, so regenerating as well for your body and your energy. Probably a generator would know what it feels like, because anyway, that's another episode for very soon. But yes, so this is what is, for me, feminine energy. And so dwelling in that moment, enjoying, being here and trying. I love connecting with my body, and I have discovered that I am much more and more attuned to my body than before. Seriously, I can feel everything. And now when I'm meditating, I need to meditate for that, I can feel my heartbeat. And it's so magical, when this is happening. I love that. Seriously, I love that. And I'm connecting as well with, when my kids, we are playing and suddenly I hear their heartbeat, it makes me feel, I don't know, joy comes out. Joy is for me the feelings when you're definitely connected to your feminine energy. It's joy, what's bubbling up, because you hear there is no worry.
Well, it's like, resting your head on, your partner's chest and hearing their heartbeat. That's beautiful. I haven't heard my own heartbeat though.
And that's where, feminine energy, this is what I call feminine energy. That's my definition. Probably out there, they won't define it the same way, but this is how I like defining it. Is when you're really connected to your body, and it's especially when it does not happen intentionally. It's just like it's here, it's there, and it feels good. And seriously, when you tap into joy, that feeling of joy rising up from nowhere, this is when you are connecting with yourself. This is you being with yourself, loving yourself, because you're not, busy with judging yourself, talking about yourself, and having those negative, thinking. And that really helps me to connect to my intuition. And intuition is my topic, is the one that oh, you know what? This is okay, so sorry, I need to also add something for my Learning 2021. When all of this happened, so I gave you the headlines of what happened to me in 2021. My biggest lesson was that I lost connection with my intuition. We all have intuition, but I lost connection with it intentionally, because I let my ego dictate what I should do rather than listening to my intuition. And it's a very painful memory when I remember that my intuition was here knocking my head and telling me, don't do it, but my ego was so much stronger. The greed took over all what I could feel, because I've never felt greed before, so I did not know how it felt in a body. I did not know. And damn, it feels good. Let's face it. This is a sin, right? That's why it's a sin, because it feels good for a moment. But when you lose it all, trust me, it does not feel that good. Anyway, so learning about stepping into that energy which to teach me, how to pause and how to rest and how to care for myself more than anyone else. You know, it helps me as well connecting back with my intuition. And my intuition is now my best friend. And now I am currently preparing a masterclass about intuition and how to connect back to it. Because I felt when I lost that connection, I did not lose my intuition. Nobody is losing it. Nobody is losing intuition, but people may not know how to connect to it, how to listen to it. And so that's where, it's in that aspect of myself, in the being, that I could finally hear what my intuition was telling me. And my intuition, sometimes it's telling me about the future. It can be a near future. Most of the time it's a near future. What could happen. And it's a choice after. It's my free will to decide if that's what I want, if it's the path that I want or not. So, I mean, it's a beautiful relationship that I have with my intuition now, and it is definitely my best friend, and I would not exchange that for anything, not even becoming more rich in life. I mean, being wealthier financially. I mean, I will become because I deliver a work, and just to show up who I am, and what I can offer to the world. So this is what I am. My biggest lesson, and yes, it's a blessing. All what happened, I know it's a blessing because it gives me that deep connection and that deep learning about intuition is what makes you do the right choice. The right decision happen when you listen to your intuition. And then after that, we have different things that we're going to talk probably in the human design, because I have lots of questions about the difference between gut feeling and intuition, because I feel that it's slightly two different things. But this is something we're going to talk, I believe, in another episodes, because I mean it can be a long topic. And so yes, that's how I step into my feminine energy. And now I'm currently learning how to balance masculine and feminine, because we all need both. I stay a few months in my feminine energy. I was not doing anything, just taking care of my kids and working. But now it's just like, okay, how can I balance both? Because I've been too many years and too long in my masculine energy, doing, being frustrated for many things, forgotten to be. Now I know what be means and what it is. Now I'm just making sure that I can, embrace both. And I think that's for me being, the best version is really leading yourself into having a balance in everything in your life, not having too much of this or lesser than, of that. It's really creating a balance in your own life and for all areas, by the way. This is it.
Okay, that was so beautiful and really enlightening for me, and I love listening to that. So it's interesting, really, how you were just focusing on the being and getting into that side of your energy, because I've had a similar lesson in 2021, or not similar, but the experience of being, so I'm in my feminine most of the time, and I'm not very in my masculine, particularly around work. And so I've been in this coaching business for a few years now, and this year and 2021, so no, what was it, 2020, obviously changed a lot of that and slowed me down at that point. And 2021, like, I was ready to start with a bang. Like, I was really ready to try to be more in my masculine. And after a year of focusing a little bit more on my family and homeschooling, and let's not even go there, I really wanted to focus on my business this year. And I had no expectation of COVID taking over our lives as it did. And my lesson this year was I failed a bit in that. because I started really strong. And I hired a new coach. I had a lot of goals and dreams, and by no means have I dropped off my business. We started this. I've actually had, in some ways, one of my best years in my business. But I'm not going to lie. I've suffered. I live in Melbourne. I have suffered a lot from lockdowns this year. You know, I find it really interesting, and I'm very selfish and self-centered when it comes to this lockdown thing, because I really feel like we've had it almost the worst in the whole world, and it's just from a completely selfish point of view. Like I don't know, but I think a lot of people are saying that 2021 has been worse than 2020. And that really surprises me, because it has been, particularly where I live. But I think in the rest of the world, in a lot of the world, not necessarily where you are. And as I said, I'm one-minded and black and white on this topic. I'm not usually, but I just have really suffered being in Melbourne, and I hated it. And I'm just so me, so much pain. Do you know what I mean? But I do think everyone has had 2021, I think, might have been harder than 2020, because there was a lot of novelty around the coronavirus and lockdowns, and then the vaccine and everything coming. So I coped, I didn't like it, but I coped with lockdown in a much better way in 2020 than I have in 2021, because it's the compound effect. I started really strong in 2021 with so much energy and excitement, and once winter and lockdowns came, like I have never been so low energy. Um, and I'm already more in my being side, much more, much more in the feminine side. I much more consider myself a mother than I do a businesswoman. I love having both, but I struggle with the masculine part of my business. I believe coaching and doing human design, I'm in my feminine, but the accounting, the business coach, the blah blah blah, all of that stuff, I sort of have to outsource it. That's not me. And also client acquisition is in that, and that's hard. But my biggest learning actually over the winter lockdown was I was so lonely in my business, because when you work for yourself, you are working on your own. And I was working on my own. I had finished up with my coach at that point, and then getting a new coach. My biggest learning was that I was lonely in my business. So I used to, be in a co-working space, or in a library, or in a cafe, or I don't know, I had a mastermind, I was with other coaches. But once lockdown came, my mastermind, we were all so busy that actually shut down and was put on hold. And I was lonely. I couldn't get the motivation. So I hired people. I always delegate. That's my strong suit. But I hired someone, even just for us, an assistant, to meet each week, and to get that momentum, and to have someone, in my business with me, because obviously my family or partner is not. For me, this is just my business. You know what I mean? So that was a huge learning for me, and so now I will never work on my own. I really need that co-pilot, and so that has been huge learning, and going forward I will keep that up. But my struggle this year has definitely been trying to get into my masculine. It's not a strong suit for me. I sit much more in the feminine and the being, and I can be a little bit masculine, like when I am coaching. I like to, I can sort of take that accountability role and things like that, but I'm more generally in my feminine. And as you said, you do need a balance. And even though I can outsource some of it, I actually hope to really step more into that this year coming, and take a bigger role in, building my business bigger, and while still maintaining the balance, because, I don't want to get off kilter. So that, learning I was lonely in my business has been my greatest learning all year. I've also learned a lot through going through the lockdown and losing a lot of motivation in my life, like the standard of living, like us sitting down at the table every night to eat dinner, that kind of slid, onto the couch and, just more lazy habits. I've been really talking to you about my increase in television. And while, I think for a lot of people focusing on rest, and myself on rest has been good, I do think I have tipped the scales, to being more lazy in my life than I would like to be. Sometimes I would leave the dishes until the next day, things I would never do before. And I think we all did that. And I think I do, I'm big on self compassion and I am compassionate towards myself, but there's also a point, where your higher self needs to come in and say, no, you want to eat at the dinner table, you don't. One good thing was I didn't drink. I gave up wine this year. But I think self-discipline and reminding yourself of the standard of life that you want to have is really important. So towards the end of the year, and now that I'm out of lockdown, my focus is really on creating healthy habits and just a high standard of living. Like, I just think eating dinner on the couch is not for me. Of course, often we'll do it on a Friday night, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think having, high standards, of, going for a walk every day and waking up early and having dinner together and making sure you clean up afterwards and stuff. These are things that I want to do, that I let go of a little bit. And so a lesson for me has been that those routines and way of living is really important to me. And while most of them are back, I I want to focus on them next year as well. And that also goes, we had our travel, episode where both of us went, and it's just trying to, there's also a feeling sometimes of like, why bother traveling? Why spend my money there? It's about getting all these habits back and realizing the quality of life that you want, that is important to you. And maintaining those standards. A lot of people have dropped their standards. They've dropped their health, and their weight has increased, and alcohol has increased, and all of these things. So I do think for 2022, I really want to focus a lot more on self-discipline, which is a more masculine, part of my personality. And I need to focus on that. But emotionally, I also went with the flow. Do you know what I mean? Like, during lockdown, I did allow myself to just get lazy and watch TV and rest, and I wasn't resistant. I can be quite resistant when it comes to things like, having rules imposed on me, particularly in my freedom. And so I was happy that I was easy on myself, and that once that period's over, I'm now, you know, taking a stronger stand when I can. Because I do think being in resistance to what's happening is a horrible place to be. You know what I mean? There are points in time where there are things that you can't control, and trying to resist them just, it creates a lot of friction. And so I wasn't in that place this year. I was probably in that place a little bit more in 2020. So I'm also proud of that. So emotionally, I've had a pretty good year. Um, and even just recognizing, when you have that loneliness or laziness or things I've faced, recognizing it, the awareness, that gives you so much power, and that gives you the power to be compassionate to yourself, because you're not sinking into the loneliness. You're like, oh, I'm alone in my business. Okay. That awareness allows you to take a step forward to fixing it. And, earlier in my life, I was huge on resisting or denying, where I was. And I have become really good at recognizing where I am, being aware of it, and being able to fix it. And not feeling bad for having these, what you would maybe call more negative emotions or experiences, but realizing, it's part of the human experience. That's what I'm having, and everything's always in my control. So that's, actually a huge leap in consciousness for me.
That's good. That's good. So, well, that's gonna be Interesting about 2022. How do you feel about 2022?
Um, to be really honest, I am just really in the moment at the moment. I'm really trying to set intentions. For me, it's got, the day, the 31st of December and the 1st of January doesn't change anything for me. But, I live in Australia, and so I love that the new year's in summer because it feels like new life. And of course, the names 2020 and 2021, I never want to hear again. But I'm not going to get so excited that 2022 is going to heal everything from the last 2 years. I'm not in that energy at all. I was actually saying to a friend that I think to get back to all of my good habits, really high motivation, really high discipline, really, back to where I was, which was full of energy and very, in control of my life. I actually think it might take me a year or so to get back there. And I'm happy to go on that journey. So I'm not really fussed about 2022. All I know is I just hope, to continue having my freedom. That's all I want. Um, and then I know that really nothing can stop me. I feel very happy and very hopeful, and I know where I'm going. And I've learned a lot from the past 2 years. But I was
Yeah.
going to ask you, astrologically, you seem to know, like, that's what was coming for us in 2021. Like, what
I
is
see.
the energy of
Okay.
2022? I don't know. But yeah, now I'm in a place of acceptance and happiness and hopefulness. And, just let
Okay.
us be free.
So yeah, 2021 I did not know because I was not into astrology before. So this is something I started picking up this year, but it's so complicated. But I'm hanging there because it's very insightful. So it was saying that 2021, and it was a cycle that started in June 2020 and finished early December this year, 2021, and that was a huge cycle about obstacles and challenges. So that's where that was the influence for everyone, not for a specific signs. And then because of your sign, your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, whatever, and all of this, then it becomes different lessons. But it's all about challenges and it's obstacles. And so I feel that this is it. This is it, right? It was exactly what we all have been through, right? 2022, so since the beginning of December, we've moved into another cycle, which is going to take us to 2023. I think it's going to be March or April 2023. So it's going to take us along all the way to 2023 through 2022. And for that, now it's going to be about transformation. Transformation and I would not say enlightenment because it's not enlightenment, the word that I am looking for. But it's definitely a change. It's currently happening. A change, and it's surprising because, it's in the paradigm as well that you were telling me, that you were sharing with me, that human design have that belief that 2027 it's going to be a year, So it's going to be another conversation, but we are in that change, and because also 2022 is the year when you sum up, it's the year 6. So it's going to help us, with harmony to bring that transformation. So it's going to be transformation and harmony. That's the key words that is taking us for 2022 and slightly beyond. That's what
I
I've learned.
feel a lot of harmony. Actually, that's what I feel. Like, very present and in flow, and not, and non-resistant, which is harmonious. So
Yeah.
I actually really feel that very much in my own life.
It's coming. It's coming. Definitely, it's coming. It's gonna be even more powerful in the coming months. The same way, that the challenges, did not really. I mean, June 2020, we were still like, what is going on, and then after that, it gets stronger and stronger. So it's gonna be the
So
same.
what are
It's gonna feel.
you what are you feeling personally about 2022?
I'm an eternal optimistic anyway, you know. It's just like I'm always trying to keep, you know, yeah, positive thinking about future. Future is always it's it's great because you build your own future, right? I mean, and once you start controlling that, then only good things can happen, right? So seriously, it's like I I, I still need to set up my intention. So we did it already in our episodes mid-December, but we focused on the one, you know, and the good news is that you can do it for all area in your life. And so yes, I'm gonna start putting, you know, the stones in my path, you know, to start building up for rising. That's gonna be it.
Okay. Well, this was a great chat for me, and
Yeah,
I know even by speaking, I learned more about myself, so that was good.
exactly, and this is what it is. So if you need, I encourage everyone who is listening to have this kind of conversation. Take exactly the topic that we are taking, bring into your friend and start discussing about that. What do they feel? What do they think about that? And have this kind of conversation. This is us, what we think, what we feel. But once you start putting words out there, so getting out of your body, you feel that it's another lesson, you know. It's like it's even easier to embody what you're saying, because even me, when I was talking, because we're not preparing all of this, I mean, it's not scripted. So if you start, you know, having this kind of conversation, then you, as you said, we start learning, you know, and we learn about the perspective of others. We learned that we were not alone as well, feeling this way in that particular time. So seriously, just enjoy this conversation and start sharing this with your friend as well. Thank you very
Yeah,
much,
because
everyone.
I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not talking from my head. I'm talking from my heart, and then I you learn what you
Oh, yes.
feel. So yeah, so just have a heart to heart with someone about your 2020, perhaps in 2021, and you will see how you feel. I mean, in my
Yeah.
opinion, I think it's
It's
really
beautiful.
good. Okay.
Seriously,
All
it
right.
is beautifully
Well,
said. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
here's to
Angela.
2022, everybody. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and every time you listen, we truly appreciate it. And if you would like to follow me or learn more about my work or get in contact with me, please go to my website, which is angelajanecoaching.com.
And if you want to know more about my work, you can go on sarahmeng.com. All the details are going to be listed in a comment below. You can also follow us on social media, Instagram or Facebook, where we are sharing our daily tips. Hope,
Bye.
hope to see you soon.